Hard Mark Podcast.
Shrimp on the barbie. Shrimp on the barbie. Do you respect that? That's corruption. I could make a fake snake. You do not pee in the pool. You do not pee on the barbie. All of myself is clean.
Broadcasting from a Shibari studio. Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, welcome to the Hard Mark Podcast. Shibari is an erotic form of rope tying, Ryan. We talked about it before. Erotic rope tying.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. A show where I, Eric Donaldson, wrestling fan of nearly 40 years, introduce one match per episode to my co-host who has never watched wrestling despite the previous 96 episodes. We talk about the backstory, we watch the match, then we rank that match on our ever-growing list. The purpose of the show is to see what happens when someone who's never watched wrestling is introduced to its most notable matches, and without any further ado, my authentically not sweet-toothed co-host, Flying Ryan Murphy.
Just threw that one on there.
Yeah, just sperm of the moment.
That's so well done. I'm gonna use that one time, like in a situation where
it's very inappropriate to do
and
so.
also like do you know
call.
the word?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you can only do it when people
right. Yeah,
know that that's not the actual correct thing. But
that's good.
Yeah, it is good. Before we get into our match, couple pieces of wrestling business I'd like to address. We did not address this on Rumpus Time because Rumpus Time isn't the place for wrestling outside of the very end. Since our last episode, Sabu, I was about to say friend of the show. We've featured him. We've watched some Sabu matches. Probably most notably the Sabu Terry Funk barbed wire rope match we saw. Sabu passed away in the interim between episodes.
Oh, on my birthday.
I don't know that he passed away on your birthday,
but birthday break.
You're during your birthday break.
Sorry, okay.
You always have to make it about you, don't you?
R.I.P.
Because I'm going to make it about me. So but when Sabu passed away, because anytime there's like a wrestler death, there's a moment of reflection of like, I wonder is there any memories that were maybe tucked away, stored away, that I didn't think of about this person until now that I have a moment to kind of think about their career. And like Sabu, I think the more I've pondered over this, I think Sabu is more or less the first in the death by 1,000 cuts in my disinterest in WWE. I think he is directly responsible for my waning interest in that company overall over the past, 10 years, 15 years, something like that. But I think I've even told this on the podcast.
So not good.
Huh?
Not good.
Well, no. Well, actually, if it's good for Sabu, it's a very complimentary story. For WWE, it's par for the course, I suppose. But so there's we probably won't ever watch anything from it. One of the absolute worst pay-per-views that the WWE ever did was this show called December to Dismember. And so eventually we'll get into this, but so ECW went out of business in the early 2000s, I think in 2001 specifically. And a few years later, there was enough fan interest in ECW where they essentially brought it back and they resurrected it, but it was under the WWE umbrella. And the first couple of shows that they ran were actually fucking amazing. They were some of the greatest wrestling shows ever, especially the first one was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Then the third show that they ran, third pay-per-view they ran under the ECW name, was this December to Dismember show, and it was probably the worst pay-per-view of all time that the WWE had ever done.
Good name.
Well, yeah, I mean, they just took it from the ECW name, but yes. But no, the main event of this show was going to be this big steel cage with weapons match. It was just going to be insanity. It was just going to be just crazy shit happening. And so as much as weak as that card looked on paper ahead of time, I was like, all the ECW shows have been really good so far. Plus, Sabu is going to be in this cage, and I would love to see what the fuck Sabu's going to do in this cage, because Sabu's fucking insane. And so I basically ordered the pay-per-view because Sabu was in the main event in a cage with weapons, and I just wanted to see what crazy ass shit he was going to do. Then, after the show started, and mind you, they used to have a Sunday show where, like, sometimes storyline things would play out. They didn't do it on the free Sunday show. They waited until they had your money, you had paid for the pay-per-view, and you were watching it to say, oh, we're pulling Sabu out, and we're putting this piece of shit Hardcore Holly in the match instead of him.
So the driver to this was Sabu.
So the whole reason I bought the show was Sabu. And then they pulled Sabu after they had my money.
Seems like that should be not legal.
I mean, I'm sure that the terms and conditions of ordering...
How much was it?
Like $50.
And this was what year?
Oh, late 2000s, early 20-teens.
Oh, okay. All right.
Something.
So
probably late 2000s, okay. 2008-ish.
Okay.
But, so like, I was bummed. I was pissed. It was the only time that I ever sent WWE an email.
Your response?
I did get a response, and it was like a nice response. I wish I saved that email somewhere, but yeah, I didn't. But the gist of it was basically like, you motherfuckers could have announced ahead of time that Sabu wasn't going to be on the pay-per-view, and you fucking didn't, and you waited until you had everyone's money, and then you pulled them. That's shitty fucking business, and I'm not going to be ordering your pay-per-views anymore. Yeah. And like, I was pissed, and like that again, I was fairly regularly ordering their pay-per-views, and like, I think from that point forward I would still get like WrestleManias and Royal Rumbles, but like, that was definitely one of the first instances of me like, okay, I'm not going to be putting as much money into this company as I used to.
Well, now you have this platform,
and now I have this enormous platform to get the word out. Speak out against WWE, everybody. Raise your fist high in the air.
Beautiful thing.
No kings, including the McMahons. So Sabu, special place in my heart. One of the toughest, most insane. I mean, he was advertised as suicidal, homicidal, genocidal. There's not really many ways to better explain Sabu. But
how old was he?
Let's find out. I want to say he was in his 50s.
Damn. Steroids?
I mean, who knows? 64?
That's a little better.
So he was born in 64. It's not giving me the...
That's like 60.
He was 60. He was 60 years old. Okay. So there you go.
Yeah.
So...
Damn.
But yeah, he was in a ton of pain. I mean, if you saw some of... Because like, he had broken his neck at one point in time in the ring. In the match that we watched, the barbed wire one, he literally tore his bicep open and then taped it. Like, he was just fucking nuts. And so his body, I'm sure, was just wrecked from years. And like, he never, which the saddest thing, and this is the thing that always seems to get brought up when people talk about Sabu, is that he never financially made the money in wrestling that he probably should have. It always felt like he was like one step ahead, and then he was like the influencer that all the other guys would copy. But he was just kind of... in ECW, he had a very brief WCW run, a very brief WWE run, but he just never made the money that he should have with the influence that he had over the industry. But I mean, one of the greats, one of the best in my opinion is Sabu. Another really good one, Hulk Hogan. Nothing bad you can say about that guy.
Dead. 60.
No, false fake news, Ryan. That's TMZ.
Cut that out.
TMZ
right.
Already. Wait, did you say that just because Sabu's dead?
Yes.
There was a article just today that was making the rounds that Hulk Hogan was on his deathbed, so I wasn't sure if you were referencing that or not.
I had no idea.
Okay, well, that was a thing, but it's been, he's just getting another neck and back surgery.
Debunked,
that's all.
okay.
Debunked. Right here. You heard it here first, everybody. If you're waiting like a week plus for that news to break, Hulk Hogan is starting his own wrestling company. That's right, Ryan.
Brand new?
Brand new. From scratch. Artisan. Farm raised. Free range.
Are you excited?
No.
Okay.
So it's not professional. Well, it's not professional wrestling. It's freestyle wrestling. So like Olympic style wrestling.
Oh my God.
So
of all people to start this,
I mean, who has the credibility to start it as an amateur wrestling legend over Hulk Hogan?
God damn.
I mean, when Hiro Matsuda broke his leg during the first day of training, and then the Hulkster came back when that leg was healed, that's the grit.
Have you ever seen him freestyle wrestle?
I mean, what do you mean? Like like an actual
like Olympic style wrestling, like real.
I've seen him wrestle in Japan where he incorporates some moves that you could in theory think maybe could happen in that environment, but no one's ever seen Hulk Hogan.
It'd be terrible. Like
I mean, he's big.
But I don't think you. Okay, I'm talking about stuff I don't know a lot, but like I feel like he's the worst guy to start this thing.
So he won't be actively wrestling, if that makes it more palatable to you.
It doesn't.
He's just putting his name to it, just like the Hulk Hogan blender, the Cyclone blender, which we all know that did very well. But no, it's Real American Freestyle Wrestling.
Nice.
The Real American thing is now his brand. It's got the beer. He's now got the Freestyle Wrestling League. Start looking at flights now, Ryan.
Tampa Bay.
Cleveland, the Tampa Bay of the Midwest, yeah. Cleveland, August 30th is the first Real American Freestyle Wrestling event. I imagine on pay-per-view, he will be, I think they said he's like the commissioner of the league or some shit. But yes, I mean, if there's one thing that the American public are clamoring for, it's UFC but without punching or kicking. So that's what we're really looking for.
I guess what he's going after is like a little bit of that audience and like a wrestling.
I don't know who the fucking audience would be for this. Like, it doesn't make... It seems like, without outwardly saying it, it seems like they're trying to incorporate some pro wrestlingness into the thing. Now, I don't think they're saying that the matches would be worked. So I think it will be like UFC in that it's like actual athletic contests. But I don't know. I don't know who would ever...
But is there like rings... Like, are we seeing? Is there rings and ropes and like all?
I don't know. I doubt. Well, I don't know. I really don't know. No, I mean after August 30th, we'll know. Okay. But I mean, so most mixed martial arts companies outside of UFC have had rings and ropes. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, it wouldn't be weird. I guess the question becomes: do you want to tie it more with professional wrestling or less with professional wrestling? And I don't know.
I would love to see it evolve into like completely like professional wrestling, like start from this and just like watch that progression. That would be fun for me.
Maybe we'll rank a match. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if this thing is actually even going to happen, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Sounds like there's a date.
There is a date. Be over here. I don't care what the cost is. $100-$200. I'm in. We'll subscribe to the streaming service. All right, let's talk about our match. Yeah. I know we went through this in a lot of detail a couple shows ago, but just to summarize, in the ashes of WCW's demise, there was a number of stories that the WWF attempted to tell. For most, the most obvious and appealing story would be to finally have the WCW versus WWF showdown that fans had dreamt about for years. And so the WWF did that story, but it sucked. We talked about it already. The short version of why it sucked: the WWF did not want to upset their existing salary structure by bringing in the actual top names from WCW. Plus, I'm sure some of them wanted some time off. And as a result, they had a very watered-down, shitty version of WCW feuding with the WWF. Things were so dire, in fact, that by the end of that storyline, the top guy on the WCW side was Stone Cold Steve Austin, which barely made sense then and is real dumb looking back on it now. But with the end of the invasion in November of 2001, and with WCW officially dead and buried, that also led to a bit of a reset for the company. In storyline, the pieces of the WWF that were owned by Shane and Stephanie McMahon were acquired by a consortium, I think that's how you say it, consortium, headed by none other than Nature Boy Ric Flair, making him 50-50 business partners with Vince McMahon in the running of the WWF. One of the first decisions made by the pair was around the championship situation within the company. In addition to the WWF Championship held by Steve Austin, the WCW Championship was also in circulation, held by The Rock. It was decided that a one-night tournament was going to be held, with the final match pitting the WWF Champion against the WCW Champion, with the winner being crowned the first Undisputed Champion, effectively unifying the titles for the first time in history. The tournament would be a simple one. Both champions would defend their titles in one-on-one matches earlier in the night, and the winners of each title match would then face off in the finals to crown the first Undisputed Champion. Our first competitor in the tournament, the WWF Champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin had firmly been a heel since his turn at WrestleMania 17 in April that we watched against The Rock. But once the storyline with WCW ended, Austin basically instantly reverted back to classic Stone Cold, feuding with Vince McMahon, with everyone chalking bad guy Stone Cold as a failed 6-month experiment. Admittedly, Austin was still very popular at this time, but some of the magic was gone from his time at the top of the company in 1998. Austin would be defending the WWF Championship against his current biggest rival, Kurt Angle, our Olympic hero. Curiously enough, Kurt had actually been the top good guy in the company during The Rock's absence to film movies, with the gold medalist surging in popularity in the post-9/11 atmosphere. And if you recall, the big WWF versus Team Alliance match, it was Kurt Angle defecting back to the WWF that essentially gave them the win. So with Austin now switching back to being a good guy, Angle was quickly shuffled back into the role of a sniveling Vince McMahon kiss-ass bad guy, effectively trading places from where the two had been just several weeks prior. It was a little jarring how quickly things reverted back to the status quo. But again, it was without saying as much, they were essentially resetting everything. On the other side of the tournament, we have the WCW champion, The Rock. The Rock had recently returned to the WWF, quickly winning the WCW title, and along with Angle, was the main factor responsible for the WCW invaders being destroyed once and for all. But The Rock is going to be defending his title against a man that he'd had his own set of problems with over the past few months, Chris Jericho. Jericho had also been a part of Team WWF, but if you recall, after Jericho was eliminated by Steve Austin, he would take out his frustration on his own partner, The Rock, nearly costing his team the match in the process. In the ensuing weeks, Jericho and Rock's rivalry would only grow more and more heated. And so there we have it. I would assume that the fans are largely hoping for an Austin versus Rock final, but we'll see if Angle, Jericho, or both can pull off an upset and have the opportunity to unify the titles and establish themselves as the top guys of the future. And just to be clear, we're not going to watch all 3 matches in full. We're just going to skip to the end of the first 2 so you get a sense of things and how things played out. And then we'll watch the finals from start to end. But either way, we're going to see the winners of Austin versus Angle and Rock versus Jericho face off to crown the very first Undisputed Champion right here in San Diego. One last non-legally binding question. Any guesses as to who you think will make it to the finals, Ryan?
Should I have a take on this already?
I'm just curious. No. So you got Austin, Angle, Jericho, Rock.
I mean, The Rock's Little Hollywood is taking place in San Diego.
Sure, yeah. Or you could answer it from this. Who would you prefer if you could pick any of the combination of these winners? What would you like to see in the finals?
It's Austin, Jericho, and then Rock and
It's Austin
Angle
versus Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
And then Jericho versus The Rock.
Yeah, I mean, The Rock and Austin.
Okay, Rock and Austin.
Yeah, I mean, just because, no shade to the others, I'm just a big name.
Sure, yeah. Which we have seen that match. We did see the WrestleMania 17 match. Oh. That's where Austin turned. But yeah, I can understand that.
Thank you, yeah.
A little bit of data before we get into the match itself. Ryan's record, 58-43-3. This is our 105th match. Whew. 2-match losing streak for old Ryan.
Thank you.
That's a shame. And this is so. Here's an interesting little caveat because I just asked you, who would you like to see in the finals, whatever. Here's the average ranking of each of these 4 competitors. So maybe this kind of either backs you up or flies in the face of what you just said. The average Steve Austin match ranking, 41. The average The Rock match ranking, 36. Average Chris Jericho match ranking, 30. Average Kurt Angle match ranking, 28.
I know Kurt Angle's done well on...
Yeah. I mean, that match against Shane McMahon where like Shane gets thrown through the glass and everything. Like that was an all-timer. That's in I think that's probably the highest of any of these four guys.
That was a little unique though.
That was. Yes, for sure.
I'm surprised Austin's the lowest on.
I mean, you
I don't know my own self. Yeah.
I've said that from the very beginning of this podcast.
I'm learning about myself as I do this
I think you need to take a long look in the mirror, preferably shirtless.
It's going to take a little while.
Well, we'll get there. Yeah. You and me together. Any questions, comments, concerns?
No.
Okay. Let's watch this thing. We're going to find out who's the very first Undisputed Champion. We'll be right back.
Austin says he's the toughest SOB in the WWF. Angle looking for the stunner. Austin got the stunner. Austin got the stunner. Austin hooked the leg. And Austin has won it. The rattlesnake wins it. Yeah, rock bottom. Rock bottom. The Rock score with the rock bottom. What's up? Mr. McMahon, what the hell is... Something's not right. Oh, the low blow. Jericho with a vile low blow on the Rock. And there's the rock bottom. My God, don't tell me. The low blow. The rock bottom. No. Oh, my God, I can't believe it.
The winner of this bout and new world champion, Chris Jericho.
And now the bell rings. And now this match is officially underway for the Undisputed Championship. Jericho, hard shot, and another hard shot. The Stone Cold Steve Austin. Wait a minute, wait a minute. The Booker T. Oh, Booker T is off to the back of the head. That no good son of a bitch just hit Austin in the back of the head with that championship belt. Austin got nailed from behind with that championship belt. And Mr. McMahon now is shoving Earl Hebner back into the ring. Jericho's got a leg hook. My God, don't tell me this. My God, it can't be happening. I call him Marty. Jericho has done it.
The winner of this bout and Undisputed Champion, Chris Jericho.
For the love of God, I cannot believe this.
All right, we just saw a real barn burner there. So to quickly summarize the tournament, Austin defeated Kurt Angle to advance. He was
1-for-1 at that point.
1-for-1, that's right. WWF Champion. And then in the match with WCW Champion The Rock defending against Chris Jericho with an assist from Vince McMahon, Chris Jericho advances to the finals. He wins the WCW title. And then in the grand unification match to crown the first Undisputed Champion, we have Steve Austin and Chris Jericho. What did you think of the match, Ryan?
Mid.
Yeah, it was pretty... I mean, granted, we didn't watch the two matches leading up to it. Honestly, I mean, nobody talks about those matches either.
No.
So I don't think we really missed anything. It would have just been an exercise in wasting another... 30 minutes.
Efficiency is the name of the game.
Absolutely. But I know you were hoping, as we mentioned, for an Austin Rock final. Didn't get it.
I don't think I was hoping. I think that's what I thought. San Diego, like The Rock.
Okay, yeah, Hollywood, etc.
That was terrible wrestling town.
They weren't super into a lot. But I mean, yeah, I don't think San Diego's known for necessarily being a big wrestling town, but also, man, end of 2001, early 2002, outside of the Rock Hogan match, which we've already watched, like it was just kind of like, I don't know, everything was in a weird state of flux. The fans were sort of like starting to dwindle a bit. You were officially like past the Attitude Era. WCW was dead. And it's just like, I don't know, the people that were kind of still hanging on were the folks that you'd think would be like the diehard wrestling fans would be super loud, but I don't know, it just didn't come through here.
When some of these organizations went down, like I hear about this now and I just kind of hear like the story of it, but like, did it feel kind of sad when it was happening in real time?
It was exciting when it first happened. And then the disappointment and the depression started sinking in within maybe like a year or two afterwards. Like you realize like, oh shit, now that there's not any direct competition, WWF can just do whatever, and there's like not any repercussions for it. It's not like there's this other company that's kind of on their heels chasing them, forcing them to kind of do their best work. It can just be like fucking whatever. And like that.
Speaking of monopoly.
Yeah, speaking of monopoly. And like that philosophy would get so much worse over the course of the next like decade.
Yeah.
Like they really got very comfortable with like, we're the only fucking game in town. Deal with it, assholes.
Yeah.
They had not fully settled into that yet, but like even watching Austin, watching Vince during this, it's like, I don't know. I just don't think that their heart was in it. I feel like it had been like 4 years of kind of doing the same old shit, and like the spark was gone. You know, at the very, not to jump to the end, but like at the very end when Austin lost and Vince is, apparently he did a promo leading up to the thing where he's like, I will get the last laugh, and he's doing this last laugh, and it's like the most like fake ass
for him too, like, you know,
yeah,
like
yes, like one of the greatest
Yeah.
quote unquote actors in wrestling, and it's just this ham-fisted. It just didn't feel, there was no actual emotion to any of it, which was, you know, a bummer. But we'll get into the notes here. So we already kind of we talked about Austin beat Kurt Angle. He hit him with a stunner. We talked a little bit about the stunner. Not
terrible move. or maybe was it what you just talked about? Was it like the lack of energy in this match that made it like, because that sucked.
I mean, any move can be cool if the crowd reacts big for it.
And
they
didn't. Yeah,
they didn't.
Yeah.
So you take a move that visually doesn't look great, and then when there's no response to it, it's going to look even worse.
The announcers tried to hold it a little bit.
Yeah,
but I don't know how much it takes. That, yeah, okay.
For sure. But like, I mean, I'm sure we could watch like when Austin beat Shawn Michaels for the title, which is a match that we watched previously. But like when he hits the stunner there, again, from a technical standpoint, basically the exact same move. But when everybody fucking freaks the fuck out, it's different in that case. But yeah, so he wins that match. Then fast forward, The Rock hits a rock bottom, which is Vince McMahon's cue to run out. He distracts the referee from the pin. Rock punches him off of the apron. We've got a spine buster, which I don't know why that was that clued you in. You noticed the commentary called the spine buster, but you did.
Okay.
You're like, spine buster, and I was like, yeah, he busts their spine.
In the second match, second out of 3. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
The Rock would always do this move, the spine buster, as like a precursor to his people's elbow, where he takes the pad off, runs the ropes, and hits the thing. But anyway, yeah, it's called a spine buster. But in the middle, Vince involves himself again. That was the maybe your favorite move of the whole thing, where he just yanks Vince in, and Vince kind of does like a little bounce off of the rope, and
it was like cartoonish.
It was good. It was well executed.
Funny, yeah.
It was well executed. But then The Rock gets hit with his very own move. He gets a low blow from Jericho and then a rock bottom to beat The Rock from Chris Jericho, winning the WCW title. And then Jericho doesn't even get a chance to celebrate. He doesn't even get to stand up with the belt. As he's cradling the WCW title, we hear the glass shatter. Steve Austin, he's on a mission. He's going to be the first Undisputed Champion, or so he thinks. And there's a couple points where he had to fast forward or rewind, rather. This is one of them. There's an awkward beginning where, like, you can see Austin clearly talking to the ref. He keeps looking back at the entryway to see what the fuck's going on. I think as we talked about, I think Kurt Angle was a little bit late in running in, but eventually Kurt gets there, hits Austin with a chair, and then as Jericho gets to his feet, The Rock hits him with a rock bottom. And so the match officially starts, the bell rings, and both guys are laid out from attacks from their opponents from the previous matches.
I just thought it was kind of funny because like if it did go well, like you could say like, okay, like unique. Unique start. But
how many matches start with both guys laid out dead on the ground?
But the fact that they kind of fucked it up made it a little bit funnier, like, you know, so, yeah.
With Jim Ross, like, has the bell rung? I don't know. Has the bell? I'm not sure. I haven't heard a bell. Maybe it hasn't rung. And, yeah, it was awkward enough to notice something's weird, but like, for someone who's not watching wrestling constantly, it's like, it's not clear what's off here, but something strange is happening.
I was confused because you were like, this is against the rules. And I was like, oh, really? Like, there's rules now? Like,
yeah, there's always rules.
Sure, yeah, but like I
yeah.
fully thought this was like just part of like, oh, like, some people don't go away when they
sure.
So okay,
but yes, and the story of wrestling
was helpful.
They could not they could not ring the bell until after the chicanery happened with Angle and The Rock, and so with Angle kind of being delayed, it made things very awkward. But then the match starts, and what a match!
What a match!
Both guys are laid out. You didn't notice this, which is fine. There was a Triple H chant because he had been out hurt, and so both guys are laying there dead. It's supposed to be like one of the most important matches in the history of the company, and everyone's training for a guy that's not even there, which is interesting. Pinned by Jericho. Austin kicks out. We got a series. There's going to be a lot of notes that are just series of kicks, series of chops. I mean, that's just what this match was, for better or for worse. There's a lot of stomps, a lot of stuff. Jericho gets thrown into the turnbuckle pad repeatedly. Austin goes for the Stone Cold Stunner, a move that you love. Jericho then but Jericho bails out. He goes to the outside. Series of chops from Austin.
Just quickly,
yes.
I didn't know I hated this move until just now.
Which move? The Stunner.
Yeah, I didn't know that until
maybe you only hate it when the crowd doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, maybe it's the first time I noticed it. I don't know. But I was like, okay, but
we'll have to test it and like.
Yeah. Maybe throw in a clip where it's like,
let me hold on,
because I've always heard like the commentators, and I'm like, oh shit, like this is sick. And see, like the flash bulbs going off here, like like there's energy behind that.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. But then with the dead ass San Diego crowd, yes, it is.
That must have been it. That must have been okay. I'm glad I saw it in a dead ass San Diego crowd. Now I know, but
I mean, they've got better shit to do. There's a fucking beach there. I've heard great things about San Diego.
Tacos,
why would I give a shit about being loud here when I can go home to the beach house and catch some shrimp or whatever the fuck. It's not a euphemism, Ryan. Yeah, I don't know. What else do you do in San Diego? They probably have a bubblegum shrimp factory or whatever the fuck over there. I don't know.
Las Vegas, Eric.
Jericho's. If there's anything that sums up this match, so Austin chops Jericho a bunch. Fine, that's great. Jericho gets thrown over the barricade into the fans. I think he gets punched once and then immediately brought back over the barricade. It's just like there's no purpose. It doesn't feel like there's a purpose for anything that's happening. It's just like doing kind of okay moves for the sake of doing okay moves.
Isn't this also like the kind of the point where he ripped up the mat?
This was right before that, exactly.
Right before, and even that had like maybe one little slam.
Yeah, there's a suplex after he pulled up the mats, which, I mean, honestly, you can probably gauge how, like, we were paying attention. There wasn't a point where we were, like, not watching the match, but, like, we had an elongated conversation about what's underneath the mat. We had an elongated conversation about a YouTube documentary about the Seattle Mariners. Like, the match was not incredibly engaging at any point. It was just doing stuff for the sake of doing stuff, but nothing was like super impressive. But yeah, like, I don't know, there was a suplex.
I've never heard you come off sadder, like, on a notes read.
And
we've watched some shitty fucking matches, and like this wasn't.
We'll rank it. We'll see.
We'll rank
Were we
thinking about it was that bad?
In my brain, this wasn't necessarily like it may be bad. It's probably okay. Like, this is about. Yeah, it was offensively boring.
Yeah.
If I had to like summarize it, it was just kind of like a nothing outside of Chris Jericho is the first undisputed champion in WWE. There's like, you can't tell me one thing that happened in this fucking match outside a bunch of chops.
I can tell you one thing.
Yeah?
That ref dive.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay,
Spoiler alert.
Right.
Spoiler alert. So, okay. Oh, you're forgetting one other and very important thing. Austin goes shoulder first into the ring post.
Ouch.
The second best ring.
That can get you.
I don't remember what term you used, but a ring move, ring maneuver.
During the night.
During the night,
like,
right. Second to Vince McMahon.
Not of all time.
Yes.
Yes.
Famous world famous athlete Vince McMahon with the best ring work of the.
They didn't even beat Vince McMahon. Yeah.
Catapult from Austin to Jericho into the turnbuckle. Jericho with an armbar. He was using the ropes, which he was using the ropes for a really fucking long time before the referee's like, hey, wait a minute. And then nudges him off or whatever. Oh, maybe your favorite move of the night. Jericho goes for a big axe handle off the top rope. Austin punches him in the stomach, and then a very natural sell of Jericho doing a front flip after getting punched in the tummy.
Yeah. Not
that. To be fair, that's like one of the most common bumps in wrestling.
I didn't. Have I ever hated on it before?
Not that I can recall. To be fair, we may not have seen it, but that's me seeing that is just like, oh, that's just what you do. You get punched in the stomach when you jump off the top rope, you do a flip. That's just what happens.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Do they try to add some hype to that? Maybe I'm.
I think you were taken aback by how unnatural it was. Someone getting punched in the stomach and then they flip forward and land on their back was a little too much for you to suspend your disbelief for, I think.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's okay. Jericho with the walls in this. I'm trying to muster some enthusiasm. Jericho with the walls of Jericho in the center of the ring. Austin gets to the rope. I even have a note here. This crowd is kind of bleh. Jericho goes for a flying forearm. Austin ducks. Oh, we've got a ref bump. Everybody loves a good ref bump. I should be tracking that. That should be a data point. Number of matches with ref bumps. But Jericho hits a low blow to Austin. Then he hits a Stone Cold Stunner. That's Vince McMahon's cue. He brings out that crooked ref, which you got to give it up for that dive. Smooth dive into the ring.
I was thinking if I had done that as my dive, I might have got out with it without a broken shoulder, Yeah, a smooth dive. He just did it the right way.
Absolutely. He's a big boy. He was a former wrestler, that Nick Patrick.
Just nailed it. Like a Superman dive that didn't hit a rope, I thought I was very impressed by that.
Incredible shoulders on Nick Patrick.
He didn't last that long.
He also, if you ever notice, you won't, but if you ever notice Nick Patrick, whenever he gets punched, which is often, the way he sells the punch is like this. He flings his arms up in the air and then falls to the side, and it's always very funny to me.
Maybe it's one of those doctor taps your knee.
It's got to be. What else? What other explanation could there be? But Nick Patrick comes out. The consortium will not abide by this chicanery. Ric Flair comes out with leather jacket clad, looking like a cool Leslie Nielsen, pulls Nick Patrick out, punches him in the face, and then Vince isn't happy about that. He gets one up on the Nature Boy. He punches Ric Flair in the face and then throws him into the ring post. We don't see Ric Flair for the remainder of the show.
They're very quick, untied to the story entrances.
Yes, it was very. I mean, I had to mention that he was a 50-50 owner in the notes, because otherwise, if you just saw Ric Flair show up randomly in the middle of this, you would have been like, "Wait, what the fuck is that? Is that fucking Ric Flair?" And then that would have been a whole thing. But yes, he was there to sort of counteract the bad guy, Vince McMahon. And then we've got a Lou Thez press from Steve Austin, a leg up from Jericho. He goes for a drop kick, but Austin puts him in the walls of Jericho, which, hey, we get a visible tap out. Jericho was submitting, but there's no referee to acknowledge it. Well, that's the key. That's the key here, folks. And so as Austin has him in the walls of Jericho, none other than that goddamn serial thief, Booker T, shows up, clocks Austin in the back of the head with a belt, with a title belt. The referee is then put back in the ring. The world's slowest 3 count. Jericho, new Undisputed Champion.
Love it.
And so this event, what we just saw, is basically what led to that supermarket brawl. So Austin was on the hunt for Booker T and was chasing him down everywhere, including
connect the dots.
The Red Apple or whatever the fuck it was in Sacramento.
The Red Apple.
Was that what I think? It was,
there's a Red Apple at Sultan.
I don't think it was the Red Apple. The Green Frog. The Green Frog.
Okay.
It might have been the Green Frog. But anyway, It was in Sacramento. So I mean, I guess that when they were doing the tour, maybe this was the very next show. I'm not even sure. But yes, Austin was after his comeuppance, which happened inside of a grocery store. So I guess in summary, and we'll get into the ranking here in just a little bit. I think there's probably a lot more than 2. There's at least 2 things working against the match. You have a very beat up, unmotivated Steve Austin. I think he knows that the late 90s are over, and it's like he's still popular, but like the wrestling audience is not the same wrestling audience that it had been a few years prior. So I think that's working against him. And like, not that you'd know it from his performance, but like his neck is fucked. He's within 4 months, 5 months, he would be on an extended leave again. Like, he's only wrestling for a few months out of the year, seemingly at this point in time. Like, after he had his neck injury, he was never quite the same. So I think that's working against it. Plus, like, Chris Jericho, I like Chris Jericho overall. I think he's like one of the best wrestlers of all time. But this is probably the least exciting version of Chris Jericho, like, in the WWF, at least to this point, and maybe ever.
I took a stab at that guy. Like, I didn't care. This is my least, like...
Right. Like, this is the same guy that hit us with the legendary "let the boobies hit the floor." Like, this is Chris fucking Jericho.
Yeah.
But like this version, for whatever reason, with the fucking red tipped hair and the ponytail or whatever, just, it didn't fucking click. And I don't fully know why, but like, he would go on later to have like really great runs, and like his run prior to this was fucking amazing, but just something about this era sucks, and I don't know why. But, you know, they did what they could to give him, you know, the super mega ultra belt. So yeah, it didn't quite pan out the way that people wanted to. But let's talk about our rankings, sir. Let's talk about our rankings.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I don't see how I can even... it's a little star-studded, but other than that, like, I don't think this match even gets into okay. Like,
oh, you're thinking this is bad?
Yeah, probably bad.
Interesting. Okay.
It was kind of a bad match.
There was, so...
And it has to do with everything, like the whole scene, like not even just, like the match was bad itself.
Right.
But then the setting was bad.
Well, I know how you always make sure to rank matches that have hillbillies and people that you think that you're better than very highly.
Excuse me?
But then when there's people that live in San Diego and you know that you're like a lesser class than them, I could see how that would factor into your rating a little bit.
I don't know if I like what you just laid out there, Eric.
Tell me what I'm talking about.
I'm a Snohomish farm boy myself. All right?
That's right. The honest farms of San Diego.
Yeah.
farming for shrimp.
I don't know. I think this would be appropriately placed in bad for me. I'd have to find a spot for it, but I don't. Yeah, because like there's two categories below this too, so I'm not like, you know.
Sure. No,
I
understand.
Trashing it to the fullest extent it can be trashed, but I don't even think it hits okay. Like, I think that'd be a dishonor and a little disrespectful to.
Sorry, I'm trying to move my screen so I can actually see bad.
I'm trying to. I don't know.
So the very top of bad, number 81.
Yeah.
Team WCW versus Team NWO War Games, which that match was bad. The only exciting thing was Sting showing up very briefly, but aside from that, it was a lot of kicky, punchy bullshit, which you could very easily say this match was 90% kicky, punchy bullshit. Underneath that, okay, here we go. So underneath that, you're looking at the list.
Yeah.
Vader versus Stan Hansen. That's a fairly recent one. That's the one where Vader's eyeball popped out. Aside from that, not a lot exciting happened because Vader was like, "Brother, my eyes."
I'm a Vader guy.
It's true. Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
Boy Meets World. So you were thinking below that.
Yeah.
Okay. Kenny Omega versus Haruka. That was Kenny Omega wrestling the 10-year-old girl. I think the main thing you hated about that match was that it was a draw. You also were trying to tell me how, like, it's not that hard to wrestle with a 10-year-old, and I was trying to say, no, it's actually, like, pretty impressive that he wrestled a 10-year-old. So there's that.
I think
Antonio Inoki versus Great Antonio, that was a match where it started as a regular wrestling match, and then it turned into an actual fight, a very one-sided fight where the Japanese dude beat the fuck out of the Canadian man and just kicked him in the face repeatedly. Bill Burr does a very funny bit narrating the events of that match.
Oh, Bill Burr was in that?
He wasn't in it, but
he was comment.
There's a video of him discovering that match, and he's just laughing his ass off.
Okay, then let's just put it one above, or what, behind
one below?
that. Well, yeah, one below that, yeah.
Okay, so you're saying this is below Great Antonio versus Antonio Inoki, but better than Diesel versus Razor Ramon.
Put it there.
A new 85, I believe, is what that would be. Okay. All right. Let me update my notes here.
Rough night for wrestling. You know.
Well, I mean, we beat Boba T, so there's that. I mean, I consider that a win. But for me, the one that matters, man, I really want to put it in okay because, like, outside of the Kurt Angle, like, where the fuck is he? This is awkward and they're not touching each other type of thing. There wasn't anything, like, fucked up about the match.
I wish there was something fucked up about the match.
Yeah, in some ways that would make it more entertaining. Let me see what the bottom of okay is, and then that'll kind of help me make my decision. Of course. So the bottom of okay for me is Steiner Brothers versus Harlem Heat, which is the match that was really unfairly put at the bottom of your list for almost the entirety of our run until the
103.
Yeah, the famous Andre the Giant Kamala steel cage match, which was a total atrocity. But yeah, so that was also something where it's just like, it's fine. I guess that was just a random WCW tag match on Nitro on just free TV. This was like the main event of a pay-per-view. In theory, people paid good money for it, which, like, that's not necessarily something that I should put a ton of stock into, but, like, you go in with certain expectations, and like, this did not live up to those expectations.
Put it in bad, Eric.
And then Team Piper versus Team Flair is my bad. I'm going to extend out my okay. This is going to be the new very bottom of okay.
All right.
So it's going to be number 92 for me. So pretty close to where you put it. Okay. I feel okay about that. No pun intended. All right, we gotta do this thing. I don't have a way of doing it anymore. It's always going to fuck with me.
Hold on, before we move on from wrestling.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Mankind, Boy Meets World Wrestling here a little bit. Are we gonna?
I mean, you already brought up Boy Meets World as it pertains to Vader.
I'm deep into the finishing after I broke my shoulder. I'm deep into the end, and like I had no idea.
I found the clip on YouTube after you texted me, and I was like, "Who the fuck are these characters?" Because like I was like, I think that's Ben Savage's friend, but I didn't like. Was it Sean? Is that his name? Sean in the show?
Yeah. So Sean is his friend, his brother, Eric.
Okay.
Who was getting thrown around, yeah.
Right, okay. But was the main... Corey?
Yeah.
Was Ben Savage.
Yeah. Was
Corey even in the show at this point, or he left?
Oh, no, he's on the show the whole way. He
okay.
wasn't in this episode, yeah.
Oh, okay. So this was just a wrestling-centric episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mankind...
No, I won't go too... It wasn't even wrestling. He came out of nowhere. They were like...
I saw the clip. I know what happened.
Okay, all right. Okay, fine.
They're talking about wrestling these girls, and then all of a sudden, we
need a referee.
There's like a plume of smoke or some shit, and like Mankind in full. He's not even like a dude. He's full on fucking Mankind, and like I only saw the initial clip.
Yeah,
I didn't watch the whole episode, that's on me.
That was the only clip he was in.
Well, I thought they put him on like a bed or something. He was holding a teddy bear later or something.
Oh, yeah. They were doing like credits and that. But yeah, that was like the main clip that he was in. Like,
granted, I was only paying like half attention because I was like at the dinner table and whatever. But like, I don't remember them like really specifically laying out like, oh, this is WWF wrestler Mankind. It was just sort of like assumed like, oh, hopefully people know who the fuck he is.
Trying to think if they dropped a dude joke in there, like.
Oh, dude love joke?
Yeah, like I'm trying to think if they like Mr. Dude or something, like, because I don't know. Like I said, I have watched that show many times, but this is the first time I've seen it. I'm like, fucking Mankind, like is in the show now.
That's friend of the show, Mick Foley.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorites, like Vader was a favorite because he was but that is one of my favorites. And then he's in the show, and I was like, sick. I gotta,
Now I understand.
Yeah, so that was a nice, pleasant surprise to my viewing.
Absolutely, yeah. And then we talked a little bit about his filmography, Big Money Rustlers from the ICP.
I make that fitting.
I mean, once you finish Boy Meets World, maybe move on to the ICP filmography.
Yeah.
I say. They followed up Big Money Rustlers with Big Money Hustlers, or was it the opposite? I think it might have been Hustlers then Rustlers. Because I think Rustlers was a Western. So, food for thought.
Food for thought, yeah.
Mick Foley was in one of those, at least. Can I do it now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Eric's Wisdom Tree.
I don't know.
Run that through your...
audio phonic or whatever, phonic, something. The thing I shouted out earlier, whatever. Yeah, Eric's Wisdom Tree. Okay. You're not going to like this one. I'll just say, I think it's important. I think people should know.
Ahead.
So, okay, I have a daughter. She's great. What a great little lass she is. I've learned something about myself through my child, who I love dearly. Mm-hmm. I recommend to everyone, maybe, like, it can be whenever, maybe before you go to bed, whatever. Even if you haven't pooped recently, just like wipe your butt. just wipe it. And hey, if there's nothing there, great. That's fine. Perfect.
I'd feel so weird if there was. Oh, God.
What?
Oh, God.
So you're changing diapers. Mm-hmm. You change diapers, and so, you give it at least the cursory wipe. I'm not going to change the diaper without at least wiping her. And, like, a lot of times there's, like, poop there. Like, not a lot, but, like, a smear.
Well, she's probably shitting herself a little bit.
Well, and I noticed... Let me finish.
Okay, yeah.
And so I noticed this. And I was like, well, she didn't poop, but there's, like, a little bit of poop smear there. Like, the marker wipe type of thing. And so I was like, maybe I should, like, start, like, doing that. Like, if it's been a few hours, just wipe. Just give myself a courtesy wipe. And, like...
No way.
Sometimes.
No way.
And, like, I'm not... I want to make it clear. When I poop, I fully wipe, and then it's like I'm using at least, like, 2 to 3 wet wipes, and, like, I'm clean.
Yeah.
And then hours later, and part of this is probably... I can tell Ryan's getting uncomfortable. Part of this is also likely because... So when she goes down the stairs... I am going down the stairs on my butt. And so I'm holding her hand and I'm scooting down butt by, like, step by step. And sometimes when I'm doing that, I can feel like, oh, my butthole's, like, right up against my shorts in a way that it doesn't usually do this because I'm scooting. Uh-huh. And I don't know if that's rattling anything or what, but, like, I do notice, like, sometimes when I do that wipe, it's like, oh, poop just is here now where there was no poop before. So... my advice is to just give it a try. Like, I could do it right now, Ryan. I could do it right now, and I could show you.
I would,
and, like, there might be poop there. There might be poop there.
You can tell if you've run into a situation like that because you're gonna feel.
You can wipe right now. When was the last time you pooped?
I don't think today.
I bet if you wiped right now, a little bit of poop.
No, I don't think so.
I think a little bit of poop.
First of all, Eric, I took a shower before I came here. Okay.
Right before you came.
After work, yeah.
Okay, but you don't have a removable shower head.
Okay, I'm done with this goddamn conversation.
So, which begs the question: how are you really getting into your butt crack and cleaning it?
No, I think anyone could tell, like, if they've had like where it was a little, like, too much swamp ass,
you'd be surprised
feeling it. You like
it costs you nothing to try.
I do. Okay, I know what I know. All right, I know.
I'm saying we don't know as much as we thought that we knew. And knowledge is power. And having the power to change is an important power indeed.
I think you might have some anal leakage problems.
I don't have anal leakage problems. I'm scooting around on my butt.
Eric, it sounds like it. It's not a normal thing.
Will you wipe your butt now? And show me the wipe. Show me the wipe?
I would.
Do it.
That's how confident I am.
Do it.
I would never show you.
Do it right now.
I would just tell you exactly.
Okay. Scout's honor, though.
Of course, Scout's honor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do it.
I'll do it when I get home.
No, do it right now. What do you? No, I don't. No, not right now.
Do it right now.
Do it right now.
I'm telling you anyway.
What do you mean? You said you would tell me.
First of all, there's 0% chance that's happening right now.
Do you want me to do it?
No. God, no.
Who's doing it? Who's wiping their butt right now, Ryan? One of us has gotta.
Don't like this conversation at all.
I'm just saying, like, I was surprised, and it was all because, like, a baby sometimes was like little, like a poop smear.
Yeah, sometimes you probably shart when you're a baby, right? You probably just do that. You don't have to hold it for any reason when you're a baby. Mm-hmm. You can just do whatever you want.
Yeah. And she's eating less McFlurries than you are, pal, and she's still making that happen.
Yeah,
so.
Well, I can control my sphincter. Because I'm an adult, Eric.
Well, I mean, you're an adult. You're not proving anything to me. You're all bluster, as far as I'm concerned.
Sometimes when you get older, you have anal leakage problems, Eric.
Okay, fine. Because you're such a baby about it, I'll wait until you leave. But I'm sending you a picture.
Don't send me that.
I'm sending you a picture.
I will block you. I will block you, and I will not answer your text ever again.
Maybe
also
it'll be
come
clean.
over the podcast
There might be there. Okay, it might be clean.
Don't even send me a joke.
There will be hair.
This is even just getting worse.
There will be hair.
Okay.
There's always hair whenever I wipe.
Yeah.
With the wet wipe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I accidentally flushed one the other day.
Are you sure you want to use this?
Yeah, I think it's a good, important public service.
You do? Okay.
I mean, hey, change my mind. But you don't have wet wipes at home. Do you have wet wipes at home?
No, I don't use wet wipes.
Well, that's your problem.
Well, you can't flush them.
That's why you throw them away.
I think when I probably already stated this before.
I'm a wet wipe convert, brother.
If I'm repeating myself, I'm sorry, but I'll just say it. I don't like throwing my wipes into a trash can. I did in Mexico. I don't like it. I'm very uncomfortable with that. When I do, luckily, I don't have to, like, I take a shower after I go. I'm not a 3-time-a-day shitter. I'm just not. 1 time a day.
So you shower after you poop every time?
Like a good amount of the time, yeah. Mm-hmm. Sometimes no, of course. Like I'm not not perfect, but yes, I do.
Okay,
But
you don't rinse your butt out.
Stop saying that, Eric. It's an important part of my shower washing process.
How do you clean your butt specifically in the shower? Walk me through.
It's not how I want it.
Do you put your whole hand in there? Do you take the bar of soap? What do you do?
Yes, I'm a bar of soap guy. I have a specific bar of soap for this.
And then how do you rinse it out?
Rinse what out?
Your butt.
My ass?
Yeah, your butthole, your ass crack.
It's kind of how I took that x-ray.
So you bend over.
Yeah.
You spread your cheeks? Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's effective. That's fine.
It took you 5 years? You've been shitting on me for fucking 5 years for this. Like,
I think you can miss some stuff. I think you'd be surprised, but I mean, we're doing baby steps here. I think you'd be surprised if you had that jet go in there. I think you'd be like, oh, this is actually far cleaner, but I'm willing to meet you halfway. And it's like, baby wipes aren't that expensive.
I don't like them sitting in a little wastebasket. I just don't. I'm uncomfortable with that. I want everything down the drain. I don't like poop that much.
I can't wait for you to leave so I can wipe.
Yeah, well, do it yourself. Don't tell me about it. Don't even text me about it. I don't want to hear it. I don't care if you do or don't. I think you should go to the doctor.
It's not a doctor thing.
I don't know. Have you talked to your doctor about
everybody
this?
Poops. No, I haven't talked to my doctor.
Well, maybe you should. Maybe you shouldn't be talking to me.
Maybe you should chat GPT it.
Chat GPT it.
Okay, I'll chat GPT.
Do it.
Or I'll Google AI because it's easier. You do it then.
Do the chatty one. And it will pull it back up and it will spit it out to you in chat so you can put it on.
I don't know what that means.
Just you can press record and then it will spit back out a response.
This is chat GPT?
Yeah.
Hold on.
You can use mine if you want.
We'll see who gets there faster.
I don't want to say this to my chat GPT.
What the fuck is wrong with you, brother? Okay, log in. I have a free account under the Hard Mark Podcast. We're on. You can email us if you have an opinion about this situation. hardmarkpodcast@gmail.com. You can send us an email. OpenAI. That's what this thing is. Are you doing it?
No. I wish you could get rid of some of these chats.
I shudder to think of what you chatted with ChatGPT about. Virtual girlfriend experience or something. Okay, what am I asking?
Just ask if that's normal.
Is it normal?
No, do it. Do the recording. Hit this button right here.
Oh.
Hit that.
Okay.
And then it'll...
But then I have to say it.
You have to say it.
See, you're trying to use my thing against me where it's like I'm being put on the spot and I have to come up with it. So let me think.
Okay, think.
Is it normal to have a little poop smear on your butt if you didn't just poop?
Yeah.
Right? Is that it?
Go with something like that, yeah.
Allow while visiting the site. Is it normal to have a little bit of poop smear on your butt if you didn't just poop? So maybe it's been a few hours since you pooped. Is it normal to have like a little bit of poop smear when you wipe? Will it verbally answer?
Yeah, it will.
It converted it to text.
Yep.
It's not uncommon, but it's not ideal either. That's fair. A small amount of poop smear on your butt a few hours after a bowel movement can happen for several reasons. Incomplete wiping? Definitely not. Sweating or movement? There we go. Physical activity, sweat, or friction from walking or sitting can cause leftover stool to spread or become noticeable. Anal leakage? Minor. Definitely not that. Diet-related issues, definitely not. Hemorrhoids or skin folds.
You're just breezing over everything I said and just
what
accepting.
do you mean? I already I identified it. Sweating or movement. That's what's happening. Mr. Softball, I guarantee you. Play softball.
Don't.
And then
Let's wrap this up, Eric.
What? I'm
Unbelievable.
Just saying, I'm
Unbelievable.
Doing this
is the conversation I have to have at 9:17 at night.
It didn't verbally answer it.
You
Consider a bidet. True. True.
We've already talked about you've declined that.
I would get it, but my wife is worried that the baby would. If it happens only occasionally, yeah, not every day. My stool is otherwise normal, yeah. There's no odor, pain, itching, or consistent staining of underwear, yeah. I can't check right now. Stop. I can't look. Yeah.
This is fun. No.
Ryan's being a baby.
Yeah.
Anything?
No, there's nothing else. Just go ahead and...
You cut me off. I didn't even ask you the fucking question, brother. Well, where's the thing?
Try getting hard now.
Yeah, stay hard. Stay hard, everyone. But rate and review, tell a friend, YouTube, Pocket Cast, Spotify, etc. If you're not hard, I don't know how you couldn't be hard after all that. But, get hard. Once you get hard, pre or post wiping, or even during, I don't know what you're into. Stay hard. That's all, folks. Hulk Hogan. Nothing bad you can say about that guy.